No other player in Arsenal has drawn more interesting opinions than Bukayo Saka over the last couple of years. From his teammates to former Arsenal players, coaches, and other football legends, here's what they all think of Bukayo Saka. Honestly, we didn't see some of these opinions coming. Is he overrated, one-dimensional, or simply brilliant? Let's find out. We kick off with the Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard. The Norwegian found himself in and out of the starting 11 in October 2023, following a drop in form which was complicated by injuries. In his absence, it was Saka who took the armband. Odegaard opened up about the leadership situation, saying that Saka was a great leader and that he deserved the armband. According to Odegaard, the more leaders in the dressing room, the better. The Norwegian also insisted that he had no ill will towards the England international, before adding that he wasn't surprised to see Saka developing at such a rapid pace. Odegaard then compared himself to Saka, saying that although he isn't the loudest in the dressing room, he is intelligent, always available, and gives everything for the team. But it's a little different for this next player. After seeing Bukayo Saka's insane performance at the Champions League group stage this season, Declan Rice joked that he was relieved to be on Saka's team, rather than having to deal with him and Martinelli. Rice also revealed how Saka is unbelievable and always looks so happy in training. However, very recently, and only a couple of weeks ago, Rice stated that Saka needs to learn new ways to beat defenders. Not because he isn't already good at that, but because he has been targeted more often this season. In Rice's words, "I feel like he knows how good he is. We all know how good he is. And the opposition is starting to know how good he is. They're starting to double up on him and they're starting to man-mark him. But this is where learning comes in. He's so young and there are so many different parts to his game obviously still to go. And he would admit that himself. Now he has to find new ways to beat the opposition and play around them, score goals. Essentially, according to the former West Ham man, there is room for improvement in Saka's game. It's something his manager also agrees with. For Mikel Arteta, Saka's quality has never been in doubt. Arteta has said on multiple occasions that Saka is a top-class footballer, and that was the reason why he was becoming a target for opposition defenders. Here's what Arteta said. Saka is targeted because he's one of our most dangerous players, and the teams know that, and they try to stop our strengths, that's for sure. What he's done in those 5 years since his debut is remarkable at his age. When you look at his stats and how consistent he's been, it's very rare to see that at his age, especially in those positions at top clubs. It's a big compliment for him. But despite all these qualities, the club's former talisman is still concerned about Saka. The Frenchman has heaped praise on Saka on more than one occasion this season. Henry admitted that although Saka's availability is crucial to the team, being regularly fouled might be a problem in the long run. In Henry's words, Saka will run the whole game. He has an eye for goal. If you want to play late and pressure a team, he can work his wingback. He can play right or left, behind the striker, assist, tackle, pressure, name it all. He has it all. Henry further added that Saka plays too many games and has already clocked over 10,000 minutes in the Premier League. The Frenchman then made it clear that he would like to see Saka being rested a bit more. But let's now talk about someone who thinks that the Englishman still has a lot to add to his game. Arsenal's former manager Arsene Wenger spent 22 years in charge of Arsenal between 1996 and 2018. And we all know what he achieved for his club as one of the greatest managers ever. So no need to get into all of that. After Arsenal's match with West Ham on Boxing Day of December 2022, Wenger was invited down into the home dressing room to spend time with the players and the coach. Saka in particular was super excited to meet the legendary manager for the first time, seeing that their paths never crossed while Saka was part of the Arsenal Academy, and that Wenger had also not been to the Emirates since his retirement, but confirmed that he had heard a lot of good things about Saka, particularly about his mentality. Wenger said that it was reassuring seeing that players get glorified so quickly these days. Saka would then ask Wenger how he could improve his game. Here was Wenger's piece of advice. "I think you could use your right foot a bit more." Pretty sure many fans would have also thought about that. But this next Arsenal legend doesn't care about all that. Last season, former Arsenal captain Tony Adams recently stated that Bukayo Saka was the best player in the world outside of Lionel Messi. In Adams' words, if there's a better player in world football at the moment, someone who both scores and makes goals, the only one I can think of is Lionel Messi. Bukayo is absolutely on fire, and the reason Arsenal are on top of the table. Well, unfortunately for the Gunners, they couldn't hold on to the top spot come the end of last season. But I'm quite sure Adams' opinion about Saka wouldn't have changed much, seeing that the 57-year-old also urged his former club to tie Saka down to a lengthy contract to avoid losing the player to big spending rivals. But if you thought Tony Adams' remarks were a little outrageous, you might be more shocked to hear what Kolo Touré thinks of Saka. Less than 3 months ago, Kolo Touré made a bold claim that Bukayo Saka would be the one current player who could get into the Invincibles team. Touré himself was part of Arsene Wenger's legendary 2004 side that went the entire season unbeaten, a feat yet to be repeated to this day. Although he refused to confirm who would have to make way for Saka in the Invincible squad, the former defender would share his thoughts with us about Saka's quality, pointing towards his power and speed on the ball. Who else do we have on our list? Keown was a tough guy for Arsenal back in the day, and his defensive partnership with Arsenal teammate Tony Adams was unbelievable. He equally agrees that Saka is the one player who would walk into the 2003 and 4 Invincibles team. Keown said that the way Saka goes past defenders reminded him of one of his colleagues, Mark Overmars. Keown then added that Saka had the trickery of Phil Foden and the pace of Marcus Rashford all in one. What are your thoughts about Martin Keown's words? Wilshere was one of Arsenal's finest players in his prime, but injuries ruined his career, leading to a premature retirement in July 2022 at the age of 30. 4 days later, it was announced that Wilshere would be the head coach of the Arsenal under-18 team. When asked by The Sun, here's what Wilshere said about Bukayo Saka. "What amazes me about him is he always makes the right decision. It's incredible." Wilshere stressed that decision-making wasn't something that came easily for young players, and that he had to stress with his Arsenal under-18 players to study the right winger. If the situation calls for a 5-yard pass, he'll do it, but if he has to beat someone, he'll do that too. Bukayo always gets it right, which is a skill itself, continued Wilshere. Meanwhile, former Arsenal skipper Cesc Fabregas was quick to call Saka a bit of a bluffer, saying that he makes opponents think he's too nice, but when he's on the pitch, he's a different animal. Fabregas told Sky Sports. Other club greats including Robert Pires, Emmanuel Petit, and Paul Merson have all expressed their happiness at seeing what Bukayo Saka brings to the team. But let's switch gears a little bit and talk about a few football legends outside of Arsenal. TNT Sports pundit and Manchester United legend Rio Ferdinand was left in awe after Saka scored a 25-yard screamer in the club's opening game of the 2023 and 24 Premier League season. Seeing his performance on that day and over the years, Ferdinand tipped Saka to write his name into Arsenal folklore and become a club legend before saying, "This kid is the real deal." Ferdinand was joined by Joe Cole, who also tipped the winger for greatness on TNT Sports. The former Chelsea man has previously compared Saka to Lionel Messi in terms of ability. You can't defend against Saka because he's got this ability to cut in like Lionel Messi, Cole said on Channel 4. Former Chelsea striker Andrei Shevchenko also echoed those thoughts following England's 1-1 draw against Ukraine in their European Championship 2024 qualifying clash earlier this season. But we ain't done just yet, because we saved the best for last. Towards the tail end of 2022, France Football asked all the previous winners of the Ballon d'Or to name who they thought was among the top 3 young players in the world. Not just Ronaldinho, but also Marco van Basten and Ruud Gullit all had the Arsenal man in their top 3 list, which only shows just how highly they think of the 22-year-old. We could go on and on with this list, but it's pretty clear at this point that Bukayo Saka is a special player. Or do you have other ideas? Feel free to share and let us know what you really think of Bukayo Saka.